Welcome to Twisted News, where we get you up to speed on the strangest news stories currently happening in our world. I'm Andrew. Today we start out looking into a man's serious quest for eternal youth. Now he's using his young son's own blood to achieve his mission. And we break down recent news about government-sanctioned trials, ushering in the era of human brain implants. Get ready for scary mysteries, Twisted News. Number 1. Blood Boy Gets You Younger. From the cryptic world of biohacking comes an interesting tale, not of vampires or mortals, but of a tech tycoon who seeks to sip from the metaphorical fountain of youth. This is not Bram Stoker's Dracula, but a true account that raises serious questions about the lengths some will go to stave off the inevitable march of time. 45-year-old Brian Johnson is a tech entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Kernel, a company that can monitor and record brain activity. So he's been interested in the merging of science and humans for a long time. He's a man now driven by a vision of turning back his biological clock, reversing his age, and becoming, in essence, his teenage son. Now, to do this, Johnson, his 17-year-old son Tamaj, and his father Richard are working with a medical spot of Dallas, Texas, called Resurgence Wellness to generate a tri-generational blood plasma transfusion, a procedure as controversial as it is mysterious. And here's how it works. First, the men are drained of their blood, most significantly Tamaj, from whom a liter is extracted. The blood is then divided into separate components, cells, platelets, and plasma. Brian receives his son's youthful plasma, while his father Richard, in his 70s, receives a mix of Brian and Tamaj's plasma. The idea being that if you have younger blood in you, then your body is now in and of itself more youthful as well. This process is reminiscent of certain studies involving mice where older mice seem to rejuvenate after receiving the blood of a younger counterpart. But of course, human biology is not so simple, and many experts remain skeptical, cautioning against the potential risks. Yet Brian is undeterred. Armed with his project, aptly named Project Blueprint, his mission, in his own words, is to maximally slow the speed of my biological aging. He uses his own body as the canvas for this daring experiment. His medical team has even endorsed the transfusion procedure as a possible treatment option for cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Brian claims to have achieved remarkable results so far: a slowed pace of aging, quantifiable organ age reductions, and significantly reduced biological age in terms of free testosterone index. His father Richard also seems to reap benefits, feeling more energetic and mentally sharp. But still, not everyone is convinced. LA-based biochemist Dr. Charles Brenner argues that a good hike can offer similar, if not greater, benefits than an expensive and risky plasma transfusion. He suggests that the Johnson family's quest for biological rejuvenation may stem from a deep-rooted anxiety about mortality. Indeed, this saga of a tech tycoon's attempt to preserve his youth using a procedure out of reach for most raises profound questions. Are we treading too far into the realm of the unknown in our pursuit of immortality? And if life is indeed in the blood, what are the ethical boundaries we must consider as we navigate this complex terrain? As the story continues, the medical community and the world at large await for the data that Brian is willing to share, hoping to shed light on the true implications of his Project Blueprint. And perhaps, if it does work, we may all someday be able to live forever. Number 2. Neuralink to test on humans. From blood to the brain we go, and the science just keeps pushing hard because in this story, we'll uncover the shocking and unnerving truths behind Neuralink, Elon Musk's company, on the precipice of uniting man and machine, bringing us closer to a future where the lines between the two are blurred. Every day that our technology advances, computers and machines are becoming more integral in all our lives. We see this, of course, by the cell phones in all our pockets and computers in our backpacks, and also in things like prosthetic limbs, aiding those who've suffered life-altering injuries to regain their independence. But what if we took all this integration a step further? Well, that's where Neuralink comes in. Neuralink is a neurotechnology company developing brain implant technology. And their goal is to create a seamless connection between the human brain and machines. But as we delve into the story behind their advancements, a darker undercurrent emerges, one filled with some potentially disturbing revelations and ethical quandaries. For years, Neuralink's trials were conducted exclusively on animals, and according to a Reuters expose, these tests weren't without casualties. The report details rushed surgeries, botched procedures, and a disturbing number of animal deaths. Yet still, despite the outcry and controversy surrounding these trials, it may come as a surprise that Neuralink was recently given the green light to commence human testing just last month. To paint a picture of the potential uses for this technology, we can turn to former President Barack Obama, who once shook hands with a robotic arm controlled entirely by the user's mind. Or we can look at the 40 or so people around the world currently living with brain implants from companies like BlackRock Neurotech and Synchron. These devices allow users to control prosthetics, wheelchairs, and even send text messages using only their thoughts. Neuralink plans to take this concept even further as they're developing an upgradable implant with faster data transfer and higher bandwidth than its competitors. But this isn't just for individuals with mobility issues or neurological conditions. Neuralink believes that this technology could improve the brain functions of anyone on Earth who chooses to adopt it. The FDA's approval for human trials does not automatically translate to the technology's readiness for public consumption, so it seems it will still be many years before you can have the chip shipped to your house via Amazon. Every step of the trial process must be held under rigorous scrutiny, especially now that human lives are directly involved. But if you're interested, on the Neuralink website, they're openly seeking trial participants. The call is aimed at those who are hearing or speech impaired, blind, paraplegic, or quadriplegic. The company lays out the potential risks and rewards, the procedures to be followed, and how the information gathered will be used in furthering their research. While some may argue that we're still years away from a world where brain implants are commonplace, it's hard to deny that we're teetering on the edge of that reality. It could be an amazing advantage for people with disabilities to overcome them, if they so choose. After that, though, it appears that there's only a matter of time before everyone will be getting the chip, much like we all have our cell phones. And if you don't want it, that's fine, but you'll need to be okay with not being as up to date as the rest of those with the chips. So there were two of the most sci-fi turned reality stories we have for you today. Please check out our Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month playlist for a compilation of the strangest stories we find every single month, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you soon.